Number 10, Moore Sam. Number 11, Joaquin Rivas. Number 14, Tyler Blackwood. Number 17, Oscar Umar. Number 21, Toby Adewole.
They told us that in my class.
Number 28, Jeremy Gangnam La Pereira. And the captain is number 4, Sam Fink. The head coach of St. Louis FC, Steve Tritchu. And now fans, let's meet.
Since the Indy 11 last kicked a soccer ball in anger. Welcome to the restart of the 2020 USL Championship season and the home opener, the first of 10 regular season matches here at Lucas Oil Stadium, all of which you can see either on My Indy TV or Wish TV, and every match this season on ESPN+. So good to be back with you. Alongside Brad Hodder, I'm Greg Rakestraw. We begin our 7th year as the broadcast duo for Indy 11 Soccer. And as you can see from your camera and the fan shots you saw before they came to us in the broadcast booth, life is going to be a little bit different this year inside of Lucas Oil Stadium. First of all, Brad, it is wonderful to be with you. We are keeping our social distance, but it is great to be back in the broadcast booth with you one more time.
It is awesome. I cannot wait.
All right, so let's talk about some of the things that are different as far as the Indy 11 are concerned and when it comes to matches this year here at Lucas Oil Stadium. Obviously, fans are going to be wearing masks this year at Lucas Oil Stadium, and you're going to see a lot of space in between seats because of social distancing. Fans had to take a temperature check just to get into the building. In fact, the announcers had to do the exact same thing upon arrival at Lucas Oil Stadium. As far as the season in total is concerned, instead of playing 34 games against everybody in the Eastern Conference, now you play a much more compacted 16-game schedule. Now, the earlier results count for these teams as well because, and that's a good thing, St. Louis beat Miami FC 4-1 back on March 7th. Indy 11 came from 2 goals down to beat Memphis 4-2 back on March 7th. The majority of games will take place against teams from a division of 4 or 5. For St. Louis and Indy, they are part of Group E in the Eastern Conference. That is a 4-team group. So of the 15 remaining games for these teams, 4 each against, for Indy's example, Louisville, St. Louis, and Sporting Kansas City too.
And I'll tell you what, there is a ton of competitive teams in this league, but I got to believe that the top 2 are those first 2 in Group E, Indy 11 and Lou City.
As far as the postseason is concerned, it has not changed as drastically as, say, the regular season was. 4 playoff teams have been removed. The winner of this group will play the runner-up from Group F. Flip that for the winner of Group F and the second place team in Group E, St. Louis, Indy, and Louisville. All seem to be pretty good teams, but not all of them will make the postseason, Brad.
No, and I tell you what, the postseason is going to be ridiculously fun, and we're going to blink, and it's going to be here.
These 2 teams played twice a season ago, each team winning at home by a score of 2-1. For the first time in 18 weeks, the Indy 11 are back. Thank you so much for joining us. Starting lineups and kickoff comes your way next. Soccer is brought to you by your Central Indiana. The National Anthem wrapping up. You see the players on the bench for the Indy 11 wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts. There is a large Black Lives Matter banner behind the north goal at Lucas Oil Stadium. Players on the field taking a knee during the National Anthem, which just wrapped up. You're looking at the Brickyard Battalion, not as many in number as per usual, and a bit more spaced out than normal. It is still wonderful to see those that are here to enjoy this restart of the 2020 Indy 11 season. Our starting lineups brought to us by our Central Indiana Honda dealers. So many familiar names in that group, but of the new names you see, Andrew Carlton from Atlanta United, Nick Moon that was signed by the team from League One Lansing United, and then it was Carl Howerth, who we saw play against the Indy 11 in 5 of the last 6 years. He had a goal in his first game in an Indy 11 uniform back on March 7th.
Yeah, great additions. And you look at Howerth and his impact, not just as a player on the field, but was a longtime captain up at Ottawa as well. So he brings that leadership element.
Let's show you the flip side now, the starting lineup for St. Louis FC. They have brought back key pieces from a team that just missed the Eastern Conference playoffs a season ago. And like we said in the open, they scored a huge win before the shutdown, beating the Miami FC 4-1. And Russell Cicerone, he had 5 goals last year. He had 2 in the opening night match some 4 months ago.
Yeah, nobody wanted to see the shutdown happen. Nobody wanted to see games not continue. But guys like Pasher and Cicerone, who came out of the gate red hot, are just devastated by this gap and are hoping they can catch that fire again.
You see Nick Moon in the foreground of your shot. St. Louis in the all-white road kits, and after some 126 days, Indy 11 soccer is back. And for the first time in 35 weeks, Brad Hahn and I get to call it for you here on My Indy TV. Thank you so much for joining us. The Indy 11, including tonight's game, will have 15 more games to play this regular season. 10 of them will take place here at Lucas Oil Stadium. This begins the 3rd year of the Indy 11. Using this facility that is the home of the Indianapolis Colts, was the home of a Super Bowl as well. And a whistle being given. Let's talk about the injury report for tonight's contest. Brought to us by our friends at Central Indiana Honda dealers and or Community Health Sports Medicine, rather. And when you've been out for 4 months, no injuries. Great to see.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, part of that is the fact, they talked about it throughout this last week, is how fit the guys were coming back. So some of the injuries that you can expect after a long layoff are pulled muscles and tweaks from guys that didn't do work. But, Coach Rennie talked about it, especially on Soccer Saturday this morning. These guys came in, they were fit, he's ready to go.
This is Carl Howerth with the ball at his foot. The best way to describe him from an Indy perspective, we'll finish that in a moment. Transition opportunity here. Gibson Plays it off left side. Iose had a goal against Memphis. Elevates this one up and over the bar. Yes, 4 months ago, a rare Iose goal in the run of play helped start that comeback from 2 goals down.
I'll tell you, as hot as Nick Moon has been as a playmaker, it would have been great to see him slot that ball through the back line and utilize Pasher's speed in that space.
Nick Moon is a great story. He played along the back line. He was a defender in Lansing a year ago down in League Number 1. Once the Indy 11 brought him into camp, they said, you know what, we think we need to put him up top. And the young guy responded by picking up 2 assists in his first 9 minutes. Flicked by Pasher. Moon tracks it down. Pasher steaming forward. Run thrown off just a bit. Contact there. No whistle given. We play on as Pasher still down on the Lucas Oil Stadium turf.
Boy, I tell you, I think just enough of Adewale's cleat got that ball to knock it off stride for Pasher.
Oscar Umar, the player that Pasher collided with. Now at the top of the 18, Cicerone. Didn't ever really get a good look on it. And here goes Moon off to the races. Pasher can't play it yet because he wasn't onside. Now he is. A breakneck pace at the opening 3 minutes of this match. Pasher, an Adam ball directed at Kyle Morton. Morton, the new netminder for St. Louis FC this year. He was phenomenal for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds a season ago. In 26 matches, Brad, 14 clean sheets for the team that finished as the regular season champs of the East.
Yeah, so much of that goes to the way Bob Lilly plays. I mean, they're just such a defensive juggernaut, and he clogs things up in and around the defensive third that it makes it difficult for even shots to get off.
Take a look at our keys to the match, brought to you by your Central Indiana Honda dealers, the official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. We start for the 11 by talking about reducing target touches.
Yeah, St. Louis is a team that likes to play the ball, and they play the ball well into their target and run off of it. If you can reduce those opportunities and force them into the next tier of their attack, you'll do well. Also, they have to find the space behind and between the gaps in the back line with multiple ways that Indy can attack, and you've seen it here early. There are gaps, and if Indy can exploit those, they're gonna have a bunch of opportunities. For St. Louis, Pasher, you got to have a plan for Pasher. He's the most dynamic player over the last 12 months in this league and has come out on fire. If you have a good plan, he's still going to get through. If you have no plan, you're going to play uphill. And then the last thing is you can't sleep on the second runs. As good as Pasher is and as much attention as you have to play to him, you can't forget about the other dynamic pieces that the 11 have. If you blink on them, they'll get you as well.
If you include the postseason matches, Pasher has goals in 3 consecutive games. The last 2 playoff games, outstanding run here. Sam kind of let up just enough. He was onside. Hatshaw tracks him down for the Indy 11. Ball set in, back post. A missed opportunity by St. Louis FC. That was maybe the first sign of rust we have seen. That could have easily been 1-0 for the visitors.
Yeah, it was a great, you talked about it. Sam laid up a little bit to allow that ball to play into space for him, was able to drive a good ball across. Unfortunate for St. Louis that they didn't find the other end of it because it was misplayed in the box by the 11.
That was Russell Cicerone. Again, he scored 2 back on March 7th. Probably should have had his 3rd of the season right there. Corner coming from the near side, corner flag. Headed down, swept away. Iose boots it some 30 yards up the park. And this Indy 11 team gave up 2 goals in the opening 20 minutes against Memphis back on March 7th. That was not their MO, but they proceeded to then score 4, which is the most they've ever scored in a road match, and the first time now in this club's 7-year history that from trailing by 2, they came back to get all 3 points.
That was such a, and you got such excitement after the season that they had last year. You're watching that game and they go down early, 0-2, and you're thinking, holy smokes. But then the fight that they had to come back was phenomenal. And St. Louis actually had the exact opposite. They went up 2-0 and then actually, gave up a penalty kick late in the first half to make it a game, and then scored 2 late to put 4 in on Miami.
Indy pressing forward here. The back 3 the same as it was a year ago. Hackshaw, Barrett, and Ouimet. Ouimet now in his 3rd year with the Indy 11. Flag goes up. Pasher had just ventured a touch offside. Let's take a look on the sidelines now for the Indy 11. We say it's Carl Lamette's third year. It's the third year for that gentleman as well. Now the longest tenured head coach of the Indy 11 in Martin Rennie. What a fantastic job Martin has done. Playoff berths in each of his first 2 seasons as the coach. The Indy 11 were the 7th seed in the playoffs 2 years ago in the Eastern Conference. Last year they were the number 3 seed and got the franchise's first road playoff victory, winning in Nashville on a Tyler Pasher goal on November the 2nd.
Yeah, such an impressive job that he's done in his time here. But, the first year was absolutely amazing. We didn't have a league for most of the offseason. We didn't have a roster. And for him to be able to put together a competitive team that late and then be able to make it into a playoff team was so impressive.
This is Howerth. Spent the last 6 years playing for the Ottawa Fury. Gibson plays it across. Looking back post, Ioze will settle. Carlton had it ricochet off of his leg. Carlton on loan from Atlanta United, a talented young player. Great step by Barrett. Ioze charging forward. A bit strong with that first touch, and section 116 gets a soccer ball.
And I tell you what, that ball, I think that was sent all the way across the box by Carlton, that Ioze brings down to his feet. It's like his touch is just as good as if we are actually in midseason and 20 games in, and then this one gets away from him just a little bit.
So again, 3 new faces in the starting 11 compared to a year ago for Indy. Carlton, Moon, and Howerth. A rocket shot that will turn into a corner.
How about it? That had a little bit of play on it. When you could see Morton had some problems watching that.
And when you haven't seen live fire in 18 weeks, you should try something just like that.
Absolutely.
From 40 yards away, a laser.
But you look at the way he was rounding out last season. He started becoming more and more offensive, late playmaking, getting forward well.
That was borderline Sergio Pena distance. You got to be an OG Indy 11 fan to get that reference. That's from 5 years ago. Asher plays it across. Opportunity here. Ouimet couldn't get to it. But Morton has been plenty active here in the opening 9 minutes of this match.
And I love the kind of wrinkle that they've got in the corner kick where, Pasher is hanging out just sort of the top of the box on the ball side. And he's an option to play. And just like that, if you're going to send one defender at him, he's going to get through and he's going to be able to make something dangerous happen.
Well-timed run. This is Blackwood. Hatshaw wins the foot race and did not hit that the way he wanted to, but Evan Newton made it look easy. Newton, the all-time leader in goalkeeper wins, saves, and clean sheets in the history of the USL Championship.
Good touch.
Connor looking to make the run. Goes to the turf. Ruled as a clean play, sliding back. And it will be an Indy 11 throw-in. This portion of this match brought to us by Community Health Sports Medicine. Exceptional care simply delivered.
Those were 2 great tackles.
These teams aren't exactly easing back into this from a pace standpoint, are they? This is like they've had 4 months of built-up energy, and it's all being released in 10 minutes of soccer.
Exactly. I mean, you have 2 off seasons in the course of 6 months. They're ready to go. Look out.
Asher with plenty of options. He and Ioze, the left-footed combo. That's the reason why Howerth was brought in to anchor down the right side of the attack for the Indy 11. Moon, the leave, and not a full blast on the shot from Tyler Gibson.
What a great thought by Nick Moon, though.
A second look. Gibson, 1 goal a season ago, that coming in the second match of the year against the Charlotte Independents back in mid-March. Gibson played every minute but 6 a season ago for the Indy 11. Starting all 37 matches last year. 34 regular season games and of course the 3 playoff contests as well. One of the few people in the league that topped him in terms of minutes played in the regular season, Fanuel Kavita, is not playing tonight for St. Louis FC. It is the first time he has missed a match since 2018 because he played every minute of every match a season ago. And Hackshaw will watch this one trickle over the sideline for an Indy 11 throw-in. Man, since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Good-looking ball by Carlton. Moon has Pasher entering the 18. Howerth helping as well. Trying to find an angle, couldn't get it through. Right idea. Another corner coming for the Indy 11.
Clever run, clever ball. Nick Moon, Tyler Pasher on the same page already.
Nick Moon, one of two players that the Indy 11 signed in the offseason who played at USL League One level a year ago. Reserve defender Connor Antley is the other. He was the USL League One Defender of the Year, was Antley, playing for Tormenta FC. This is Howerth. Good bend to it, but Morton had it tracked the entire way. In the St. Louis team, a blend of key returning pieces like Cicerone, G, and Blackwood from a season ago. They have three players that they signed from the Ottawa Fury. The Ottawa Fury now the Miami FC. However, it's a completely different roster. The franchise switched hands, not the roster. Howerth, the takeaway, and Howerth draws the foul. Oscar Umar picks up the whistle. Set piece coming for the Indy 11.
Yeah, you can't be trying to dribble out of this in the defensive third. So Umar may get the foul, but this goes on Gangnam Lapara.
Gangnam Lapare and Howerth were teammates in Ottawa a season ago. Wallfall, who's available as a sub tonight for St. Louis. Gangnam Lapare and Moore Sam, the players that made the jump from Ottawa's roster to St. Louis this year.
I like this setup on a dead ball. You got a left foot, you got a right foot. You can go a couple different options.
And that's going to be a foul. The player fouled was Toby Adewole, former Pittsburgh Riverhound. Fans, the Cliff Bar Baking Company, Indianapolis, is proud to team up with Indy 11 to support Little Wish Foundation. Folks at Cliff Bar will be tracking the miles that are run during the match by Tyler Gibson and Ioze during the course of this season. Tyler will up and run a marathon, basically, during the course of tonight's game. You see a trainer out for St. Louis FC. Clearly a wrap has come undone for the injured St. Louis FC player. There's a couple of important players to note that aren't here tonight for St. Louis. We mentioned Fanuel Kavita missing a match for the first time in the last 2 years as you take a look at the foul whistled at the end of the set piece for the Indy 11. But also Kyle Gregg, one of their leading scorers from a year ago at 7 goals. He had one against Miami back on March 7th. Neither he nor Kavita in the starting lineup or in the 18 for St. Louis. And that is a big loss for their brand new head coach and a name very well known in American soccer circles, that being Steve Tritschu. Like St. Louis FC dressed just 16 players tonight. And as you have seen from leagues around the world, instead of having only 3 subs available this year, 5 subs can be used during the course of a game. Well, assuming that St. Louis isn't planning on swapping their goalkeepers at some point tonight, really they only have 4 field subs available. Now, weather conditions playing indoors should not be an issue, but still worth noting as this match goes deeper into the contest. Fans, this portion of this match brought to us by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. Indiana, a state that works. Barrett.
It's a great thought. It's a great thought.
The dime to Iose. Now Pasher. Good scouting report by St. Louis. Don't let Pasher beat you left side. Make him turn back to the right. And with that, knocked away by the visitors from St. Louis.
What a great opportunity that was, off the throw-in. Patty Barrett just understood where Iose was, and as soon as he got that ball, it didn't even look, just drove it into that space.
Chance for Morton to catch his breath. 2 new goalkeepers this year for the St. Louis Ball Club. They were the opening game for each other at West Community Stadium a year ago on March 9th, with St. Louis getting the victory 2-1. Indy returned the favor here on August the 18th by the same score. Of note, when these two teams played last year, all goals for both teams came in the second half. Well done by Hackshaw, the international level player for Trinidad and Tobago. Just a step off. Connor had broken off that run just enough where he couldn't latch onto the pass from Howerth. Fans, you can show your Indy 11 pride and get your exclusive Indiana Members Credit Union Indy 11 debit card at any Indiana Members Credit Union branch or online at imcu.com today. Possession so far in favor of the Indy 11. Understandable. Playing at home for the first time this year. Again, not the normal level of crowd we are used to seeing during an Indy 11 match at Lucas Oil Stadium, but certainly understandable given the conditions. It's great to play in front of fans of any kind.
In live sports. I mean, love the stuff I'm seeing in all the retro and classic stuff, but man, I gotta be in a stadium.
Of course, we've seen the NWSL return in tournament form. They're playing in the Salt Lake City area. Major League Soccer resumed their season this week with the MLS is Back tournament. That is all at Walt Disney World. Of course, here we're talking about playing in home stadiums. This is the second match of the day. Real Monarchs out west played San Diego Loyal. San Diego Loyal, coached by Landon Donovan. They got a 1-0 victory against the defending USL champions. And that deflected off more Sam. Throw in coming for the Indy 11.
Getting great width in the midfield from Howerth and Iose. That gives options to play this ball out wide into those gaps and into that space, which really starts to stretch St. Louis defensively.
Here's Carlton. And again, no foul given. Contact's been allowed going both ways so far tonight. A chance for the counter here for St. Louis FC. Tremendous read by Barrett.
Yeah, that was one. Cicerone showed his hand early. Patty Barrett was just waiting for that ball. Cicerone never looked off his first read, and Patty Barrett was waiting for it.
Cicerone and Barrett teammates a couple of years ago at FC Cincinnati. Outstanding diagonal ball finds Moon. 4 across the back for St. Louis FC. Give and go, Pasher couldn't latch onto it. Umar got in the way for St. Louis FC. Great pressure by Carlton. Youngest set of legs on the field for the Indy 11. Not surprising, he's the guy taking the most chances. And on loan from Atlanta United. Young man is from the Atlanta area. They kind of wanted to give him an opportunity to maybe kind of grow his wings a little bit outside of his home market. Quick reminder, our injury report brought to us by Community Health Sports Medicine, official sports medicine provider of the Indy 11. A full 18 available for head coach Martin Rennie tonight. And it's a good problem when you're not sure who to leave off the 18, let alone the starting lineup on this roster. That's what Martin Rennie has put together this offseason. It is a talented group from 1 to 25.
Yeah, the depth is phenomenal. When you take a look at this sprint of a season right now, that's important to have because there's going to be some quick turnarounds, 3 days rest, 4 days rest, travel back to back on those short breaks. So to have a quality roster like Coach Rennie has put together is something that's needed for him, to be competitive for this season.
One other thing that we will be having in tonight's contest, and it will happen throughout the course of the year, there will be hydration breaks in each half after not having competitive matches for 4 months. So there will be a brief stoppage in play at around minute 30 and minute 75 in tonight's contest. And Carlton and Gangnam will not be sending each other Christmas cards anytime soon. And a quick tete-a-tete to be had with our match referee and Carl Howerth this evening. Howerth whistled for the foul. The best way to describe Carl Howerth in Ottawa is the way Indy 11 fans feel about Brad Ring. 5 years with the Indy 11 for Brad Ring. Carl played the first 6 years, the only 6 years of the Ottawa Fury franchise. Great challenge by Gibson. Gibson, as some did over the quarantine period, let the hair grow a little bit, did Tyler. Looks a bit different than we saw him a year ago, but same tremendous level of energy on display by the native of Knoxville, Tennessee. Good looking ball here. Pastor gives it a go, but elevates it up and over the bar.
What great build. You got to tip your hat to the coaching staff because what you saw in Nick Moon as a defender to say, hey, you're going to go up, you're going to be a playmaker for us. He's doing a fantastic job.
And I go back to something that Martin said at some point in time during the offseason when he basically said, hey, at this level, what we're trying to do is we're trying to maybe find those diamonds in the rough where we think, hey, maybe this guy at this position is a USL championship player. But if we switch him positions, maybe he's a level or two even above that. You've seen it with Tyler Pasher move from kind of midfielder to a forward. Something similar now with Nick Moon in the works for the Indy 11.
Yeah, there's two parts of that. One, it's the vision of a coaching staff to be able to see that and creatively put that together. But on the other side, you got to compliment the player because you're coming in with a certain comfort level and experience with a certain position or a certain place on the field, and you got to trust your coaching staff and you got to be able to put your ego aside and say, okay, I'll give it a shot.
Little blood for Gangnam, so currently St. Louis FC playing a man down. As we resume play. This one played back to Morton. Pasher not close enough to provide all that great of a threat. Niftily done by Hackshaw. Very compact defensively. 9 plus a keeper behind the ball currently for St. Louis FC. So Pasher speed left flank, plays it across, side netting. Goal kick coming. Just reminder, fans, join us every Saturday morning for Soccer Saturday on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Today it was Indy 11 head coach Martin Rennie, the Vice President of Strategy and Marketing for the Indy 11, Josh Mason, talking about just exactly how the game day experience would be different tonight. And Devin Kerr from the USL Championship handles a lot of the broadcast on both the ESPN Plus and ESPN2 side. In fact, the USL Championship will have 8 telecasts on ESPN2 starting tomorrow with Lou City and Pittsburgh that will air over the next couple of weeks. That includes Indy 11's first road match at Pittsburgh on July 22nd. So it is a blitz of USL Championship soccer you can see on ESPN2 in the very near future. Pasher plays it across. It will be corner number 3. Last touch by Sam Fink for St. Louis.
You referenced it on the last build-up from Indy 11, how compact St. Louis's defense was, and you have to because Indy can get at you so many different places that if you're going to gamble, you need somebody that can shift into that space right away. Indy's going to be very effective if they can do what they tried to do right here and catch him in transition.
Short corner. Ouimet couldn't stare it down. Carlton trying to find a window. Good-looking ball here. Hackshaw was his target. Defended away nicely by St. Louis FC. Hackshaw scored the first goal of last year for the Indy 11 against this squad from St. Louis. Gangnam Lapare able to weave his way through midfield. This portion of this match presented by your Central Indiana Honda dealers, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. And Barrett occupies the space, left foot that Newton had covered the entire time. There's really been the one great opportunity that Cicerone missed for St. Louis. Other than that, possession and their chances have been few and far between to this juncture of the match.
And the class and composure of the 11 is coming out right now with a more methodical attack, whereas St. Louis is having to look for those breaks and those opportunities to see if they can catch a good counter opportunity.
And the hydration break is just a few moments away. A special guest will be joining us at that point in time. Talk about the Herculean effort it took to get to this point. To have fans at Lucas Oil. Player slips. Newton slides out. Kept it away from Blackwood.
A great buildup by St. Louis. Great opportunity. Evan Newton just got enough of a foot to it to knock it away.
Now Cicerone gets it back to the right foot, a blast, and into a socially, distantly spaced out Brickyard Battalion. And that will be the water break for everyone involved. And that gives us a great opportunity to be joined now by the president and CEO of the Indy 11, in Greg Stremlaw. Thankfully, my voice was made for social distancing, so Greg can hear me from a good 6 feet away. Buddy, it is good to see you. Where do you begin to start to discuss everything, all the steps that it took just to get to playing soccer at Lucas Oil tonight?
Well, I just say Herculean effort and a lot of people involved. Somebody's got to go first, right? So we're liking that we're at the front of the list. We have to stress test this venue, and we think the 11 are made for that. And we're here, and I've said it many times this week, I think it's the safest venue in the country right now.
Well, you have not just served the Indy 11 well during this period, but frankly the entirety of the league. You were on a league-wide committee that got this restart going. Talk about the role that you have played in this process.
Yeah, I said this before. There's a couple of key committees. One is the Competition Executive Committee, which basically has been charged with helping redesign the format, competitive play, the divisions, the frequency of games, all of those things. So when I originally signed up for it, I thought it would be once a month type of role, and it clearly has been a daily role. The other one is the COVID-19 National Task Force for Professional Sport, and they've appointed some individuals from around the country, and it's been really good to sit with my soccer peers and go through all the health and wellness items that we need to liaise with the best medical expertise in the country, and here we are today.
So play about to resume. Evan Newton to hit the reset button. It frankly would have been easy simply to say, we're not playing soccer this year. Why was it so important to you and everyone with the Indy 11 to resume this season if at all possible?
Well, I think right at the top of the list is health and safety. So we felt that there was a way to do it by keeping our fans, our players, our staff, our sponsors safe. So that was right at the top of the list. And we think the fans deserve it. We think there's a way to do this in a respectful manner, in a safe manner, and as you're seeing it unfold tonight, we certainly are.
And Greg Stremlaw, Indy 11 president and CEO, our guest, here in minute number 32 of the second match of the season. This home opener for the Indy 11 at Lucas Oil Stadium. Moon, the flick forward, Pasher could not latch onto it in time. To go from 34 matches to 16. Again, 16 is far better than none. How tough of a decision was it to work to get to that number of 16, Greg?
Well, I think we wanted to have a number, clearly it's subjective, but we wanted to have a number that had integrity for a season so that when we declare a champion, people could say, okay, that's a fair and reasonable number. And we had to understand that a lot of these venues aren't going to be able to have fans, and so we had to find a balance, right? It's a big country, it's a very diverse country, and therefore it was all about finding a reasonable balance that everybody could agree to. And so we landed on 16.
Of course, the other big shift for the Indy 11, all the teams in the East went from playing 16 different teams to perhaps playing 5, 6, or 7. It's obviously a pretty simple geographic footprint: Indy, Louisville, St. Louis, and Kansas City. If you don't mind, talk about the work it took to figure out exactly how to place those teams in 8 different groups.
You're right. We tried to go more with a rubber tire traffic league this year, really to mitigate the safety risks and to really reduce the amount of flights that our players and players across the country are going to take. And so geographically, we ended up doing the division, as you've said, Rake, and trying to have any out-of-division opponents be geographically based. So for the 11 this year, the farthest we will travel until the playoffs will be a bus trip 5.5 hours down the road to Pittsburgh.
Asher with open space to operate with. Gets around the defender, left side, plays it across, and rifles it off the post.
We were talking about this pregame too. When you look at the way this is all laid out geographically, and St. Louis coming here, how much of trips that normally would have been hotel trips and overnight stays continue to fit in that format?
Well, I'll start with the air travel for us, although that's not the question. We won't be on an airplane this year, which is a huge difference, right? We're not flying down to Miami. We're not doing a whole bunch of those trips. Because we're on the road only 5 more times, we will see what the coaching staff wants, but it's a major reduction of accommodations. And even with that, the health and safety protocols that go into where we can stay, what floor we can stay on, how the rooms are sanitized, it's a very in-depth manual that we have to adhere to.
We have talked about just the mechanics of playing the sport. Let's talk about the people that are watching at home, the people that are here with us at Lucas Oil Stadium. During this process, first, let's talk about Tyler Pasher. Pasher, right foot, couldn't sneak it by Morton. 2 shots in the last couple of minutes, but again, the opportunity starting to develop now for the Indy 11. So back to my question for you. What has this process been like for the last 4 months, soliciting as much feedback as you can from the fans?
Yeah, it's been eye-opening, right? Because this is new for all of us, and so that's one of the things I've loved about the task force is we've been able to liaise with all the other professional leagues and really get intelligence and find out what they're doing. Share best practices. Share what the next steps are in each league and each club, and that's been a learning opportunity, I think, for everybody. And this city's been great as well. I mean, all of the sports franchises across Indianapolis are collaborating. We've been on weekly calls with Pacers and the Colts and IMS and you name it, and that has been fruitful. We are truly all in this together. Nobody wants us to fail. Nobody wants the 500 next month to fail. We all want to win, but we have to be very careful in how we approach our return to normalcy.
Final thing before we let you go. Greg Stremlaw, president and CEO of the Indy 11, kind enough to join us in the booth. First half still 0-0 here at Lucas Oil Stadium. Much like Martin Rennie and his staff will have a scouting report and a recap of the action on the field tonight. How much will you and your staff kind of go to work based on what happened tonight and apply to next Saturday and beyond?
Yeah, same thing. We will analyze everything in terms of what we're doing with temperature checks to, sanitization, scheduling of the venue. Food and beverage, we'll meet with our partners here with Center Plate. We'll go through how the suites operated for our corporate partners who have been very flexible and very accommodating. We appreciate that. Everybody knows this was, as I say, a stress test. This was the ability to get back in the venue. It's not going to be a big load, and that's purposely done to see how it goes. And so far, I know we're nearing half. We're quite pleased. Everything has gone very, very smoothly.
Greg, I cannot thank you and all the staff with the Indy 11 enough just to get us to this point to resume this season. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the match.
Thank you, guys.
Greg Schremlaw, again, the CEO and president of the Indy 11. He was a wonderful offseason acquisition last year for the Indy 11, and his expertise and knowledge have been an absolute godsend for this franchise over the last 4 months.
No, he's been great. Absolutely great.
Back to action. You're seeing again kind of the opportunities pick up for both sides. That includes for St. Louis FC. Barrett will usher that one across the end line for a corner kick, the second of the evening for St. Louis FC.
Yeah, with his hips turned towards the end line, there was no way that he could let that ball go across. He just didn't know what runs were being made in that space behind him.
Walking over to take the corner is Joaquin Rivas. Appeared in just 6 matches a season ago. Played his college soccer at UNLV, did Rivas. Ball sent in. Target that time was Toby Adewole. And here goes Pasher flying down the field. He's onside. And Jan Lapere at full sprint. Again forced right, tries to slide it through. He'll take the corner and knock down some finely crafted sponsor boards in the process.
I'll tell you what, but great positioning by Morton. Once Pasher took that last touch, he came out, he set himself, he made the windows incredibly small for Tyler Pasher. Love seeing this in a goalkeeper.
Pasher now 16 goals in his now 3rd season with the Indy 11. He had a brace in the second half against American soccer legend Tim Howard. The season opening victory against Memphis 901. It is Ioze with the left foot to send this one in. The bender. And that's going to be a foul against Moon as he and Morton got tangled up. This portion of this match is brought to us by Keystone Construction. It's more than construction. We build a vision.
Tell you what, I like the size and the presence of Nick Moon right on the goalkeeper on corner kicks. I think that just puts this thought in a keeper's mind, this little mosquito that's in their head that may be enough that can distract him from a cross that's coming across.
He might be more sizable than a mosquito. It's a pretty large mosquito.
Yeah, we've got large mosquitoes out at the farm. I'm frightened of them.
Hackshaw able to keep that ball in play. Well done. And racing out of there is Connor. He's got Pasher. Pasher just a step behind, but gets the proper touch. Left foot. Morton is there. Follow up. And that'll be a foul on Pasher. Even though Pasher took the worst for wear, Morton offers to help him up. Pasher's issue isn't with Morton. His issue is saying, hey, why is that a foul on me?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, when St. Louis starts looking at how this game has played out here for the first 40 minutes, Morton is a heck of an offseason acquisition.
We referenced his stats last year earlier. Now, again, Pittsburgh had a wonderful defense around him, but the shot stopper has been worth every penny. And I would tend to agree. I'm not exactly sure how that was a violation on Pasher. I realize, and you're part of the goalkeepers union, so I understand.
Don't start.
Protected species status, I get that, but
it's a wide receiver going over the middle. You got to protect them when they go up. And, hats off to Morton here. He makes his great, incredible first save. He knows he's left that ball in the box, immediately pops up and goes to get it.
Carlton's got space. Carlton takes a tumble, and this time the 50-50 whistle goes in the other direction. set piece coming for the Indy 11.
That's about the fourth really hard tackle from Adewale, and the first three, I had no question on the legality of it, but this one was just over the top.
Carlton did just enough to establish position. And again, the young guy, fearless. You know you're going to get crunched in that scenario. Took the contact and draws the restart opportunity here for the Indy 11. Final 5 minutes plus stoppage time of this first half is brought to you by your Central Indiana Honda dealers, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11.
It's tough for a keeper. You got Howerth and Iose. You got a dangerous right-footed player and a dangerous left-footed player. It's really difficult to kind of set yourself and understand where the attack's coming from.
Indy 11 really had to rely on set-piece opportunities 2 years ago. That part of the game kind of dipped for them a season ago. Howerth changes that immediately.
Yeah, and I don't know that it dipped as far as it was one of the only ways you could score a couple of years ago. And now you can score so much through the run of play, and you have so many different weapons that you're not just playing for a dead ball in the attacking third.
There goes Connor yet again. Cut. Moon to the left foot, plays it middle, but kind of sat there harmlessly on the blue end zone turf for the Indianapolis Colts. Todd Wharton did a good job of being an obstacle inside of the 18 for St. Louis FC. He had 2 assists in their season opening victory against the Miami FC back on March 7th. Wharton played for Portland Timbers 2 a season ago. St. Louis team finished 11th in the Eastern Conference. They were the first team outside of the playoff picture a year ago. This is the 6th year for St. Louis FC. They have made the playoffs 1 time, but what made last year a good year for St. Louis was their run in the U.S. Open Cup. Had a pair of victories against Major League Soccer competition. They were one of 2 USL Championship sides to play in the quarterfinals. Cicerone made a great run. Nobody made it with him.
Yeah, you anticipate it. You anticipate. You've pulled the defenders into the middle. You anticipate that someone's going to see that space out wide and get in there for you.
Right now, 0-0. Stoppage time appears to be in the neighborhood of 3 minutes. If you're Martin Rennie, how you feeling about half number 1 so far?
Well, I'll tell you, you like the opportunities that you've created. I think you've been dangerous here in open play.
Well defended.
Yeah, created some really good chances and stressed Morton, stressed the back line of St. Louis. The one thing you're kind of concerned about is you've given up a couple of really good looks inside the 18.
Yeah, the best look of the night, frankly, belonged to Cicerone. Missed a bit of a sitter. Didn't hit well with his left foot. That's really almost the only sign of rust that we have seen from either side tonight. Howerth. Morton made that look easy. Fans, tonight's game is presented in part by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, a proud supporter of the Indy 11. Take your business to the next level in a state that works. So into those 3 minutes of added time at the end of half number 1. Because of hydration breaks that you will see throughout the remainder of the season, there's going to be plenty of added time at the end of every half. Iose. Adewale got there first. Trying to play the cutback, did Carlton. And yes, that last match was some 126 days ago. For the Indy 11, they have 10 of the same 11 starters that played in that game back in March.
It's great work by Tyler Gibson, just to track back and to give support to Patty Barrett, where he had the ability to drop back into cover because Gibson was coming back and applying pressure to Cicerone.
Fans, you can follow the Indy 11 and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN+. Home of the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. More than nearly 8 million sports fans have already discovered ESPN+ and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com. Pasher has Moon across the way. Couldn't get to it. And we saw this a season ago. Pasher, obviously the leading goal scorer, but was just as good at setting up his teammates. He had 4 assists a year ago. And when so many eyeballs focus on that left side, that backside's always open.
It is, and there was just a little stutter step by Nick Moon. You've got to trust that Pasher's going to get that ball in between the goalkeeper and the back, and you just have to lay out for that ball.
Tonight's match presented in part by Keystone Construction, a proud supporter of the Indy 11. Keystone Construction, it's more than construction. We build a vision. And Jan Lapere. Again, that wasn't on frame. Morton clearly has been the man of the match so far for St. Louis FC. If you're Coach Tritschu, your thoughts on the opening 45 minutes?
I'll tell you, you're thrilled with the offseason acquisition of Morton. As a keeper, when you start making save after save after save, your confidence keeps growing, and you just start feeling like I'm playing in front of a tiny, tiny net. I've got control of this game. So that's been a great acquisition. He's got to be happy with that. What he's disappointed with is how in transition, once Indy 11 has built and they've had the ball, St. Louis is able to congest things. But in the run of play, they're too open, and the 11 are taking advantage of it.
You get a good look at Coach Tritschu for St. Louis. Spent the last 5 years with Colorado Springs. He was on the 1990 American World Cup team, the first to qualify for that competition in some 40 years. The home fans are just happy to see soccer back at Lucas Oil Stadium, much like their 2 meetings a year. Start is on for the Indy 11 and the entire USL Championship. Thanks for making us a part of your Saturday night. Greg Rakestraw, Brad Hodder with you. 0-0 the score between Indy and St. Louis FC in the first soccer match here at Lucas Oil Stadium since October 16th of last year. Let's tell you about what's going on around the USL Championship. A big day, not just for Lou City, but for the entirety of the USL Championship. The palace that is Lynn Family Stadium gets unwrapped tomorrow. Lou City and Pittsburgh. That match can be seen on ESPN2. We'll tell you more about the USL Academy coming up in a matter of moments. Again, as the USL season resumes, Yes, their bracket is still Eastern and Western Conference. However, it's all about how you do in your division, and Group E, Brad, is absolutely loaded.
It is, but it's just great to be back.
Indy, Louisville, St. Louis FC all had wins. They carry over from March 7th into the restart that starts now. So we talked about Lou City, we talked about the restart. How about some more on the USL Academy? Have a look at this.
The USL is proud to bring professional soccer back into our communities and across the ESPN family of networks. Follow your local club and don't miss these exciting matches coming up on ESPN2 or ESPN Deportes.
Until recently, many youth soccer clubs in the US existed independently from senior teams at both the professional and amateur levels. Many soccer communities didn't even have a local senior team their youth players could aspire towards. As the USL continues to grow and bring more senior teams to communities across the country, the USL Academy platform will build a bridge between youth and professional soccer. By driving collaboration between the local youth network and USL senior team, partnerships are formed, allowing for all organizations to work together in the best interest of long-term player development. Once that pathway is established, USL clubs will be able to field a reserve team, providing the top local high school age players a direct roadmap into the Championship, League One, or League Two through participation in the new USL Academy League. For more information, visit usl-academy.com.
The USL is proud to bring professional soccer back into our communities and across the ESPN family of networks. Follow your local club and don't miss these exciting matches coming up on ESPN2 or ESPN Deportes.
And back inside Lucas Oil Stadium, and yes, we ask that you wear a mask when you are inside at Lucas Oil Stadium. When Brad and I aren't yapping into a camera with you, we're doing the exact same thing. 0-0 the score between Indy and St. Louis. We've talked about this during the course of the match. Now during halftime, a little more time to expand it. Brad, literally two-thirds of this roster back from a season ago. 16 returning players. You see some of the key ones on screen.
Yeah, it's so important for, it's important for any season. But when you have a break like we just came off of, to philosophically get on the same page, have the players connect and be able to find a rhythm, it is so critical that they've had that connection from a year ago.
77% of minutes logged from last year returned to 2020. But as touched on, there are key pieces as well that are brand new to the Indy 11. You've seen Carl Howerth, Nick Moon, Andrew Carlton tonight. Cameron Lindley, the local product that was drafted by Orlando City, played at North Carolina, Guerin Catholic High School. He is not in the 18 tonight. And as mentioned earlier, Connor Antley, part of an already very deep and talented defensive core. He was the defender of the year last year in USL League One.
Yeah, what's amazing is when you bring back a roster as strong as the 11 brought back, you think, okay, you're going to pick up a couple guys that maybe haven't built a resume yet just to fill out some roster spots and grow them as players. You've brought in impact players. You got impact players behind impact players.
It is a loaded squad. Not 11 deep, not 15 deep, about 22 or 23 deep. This team put together by head coach Martin Running. Stay tuned, more halftime cut. Mask required inside Lucas Oil Stadium. Passion expected. Fans have been fantastic. So has the action so far here at Lucas Oil. In the first game back in this facility for the Indy 11 in 2020. Last time they played here, it was October the 16th. Still scoreless at halftime of game number 2 of the season for each of these two squads. Time now for our out-of-town scoreboard, brought to us by Crown Plaza, downtown Indianapolis. Let them assist you with your next meeting or event. San Diego Loyal, a winner over Real Monarchs by a score of 1-0. Atlanta United 2 with a 1-0 advantage over the Tampa Bay Rowdies so far. And some of the other matches tonight will be in the Western Conference. Colorado Springs Switchbacks, again, the team that Steve Trittschuh coached a year ago. After 5 years there, he is now with St. Louis FC. Again, alongside Brad Hodder, Greg Rakestraw, and no, we are not that close on camera. We have our social distance between us, but again, we are so excited to be back for a 7th season of bringing you Indy 11 soccer on My Indy TV, Wish TV, and ESPN+. We'll have every game but one the rest of this regular season, that being the nationally televised game on July 22nd against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Brad, your thoughts on the restart opening 45 minutes of the year, if you will?
I've loved it. They've looked exciting. I think 13 shots, 8 on goal. St. Louis has had about half of that. I don't know how long Morton can hold the sheet clean. Looks like Indy's going to break through. I like the creativity in the attack. Want to shore up a few things on the counterattacks that St. Louis is having.
Well, you talk about all of the various shots and angles that Morton has had to face in goal so far for St. Louis FC. Let's show you that now with our first half highlights. And again, it's about a minute we're going to show you here of just Indy constantly on the attack in half number 1.
Yeah, that was an unexpected. I mean, if you've watched tape on Indy 11, Morton's not thinking Patty Barrett's going to pull the trigger from 40.
Iose getting a look on goal. The combination of Pasher and Moon has been really fun to see develop.
I'll tell you what, the more time that they get together, the more dangerous they're going to be.
And Pasher's speed, again, you know it's coming. We said the same things last year, Brad. Question is, you have a way to stop it.
That's the thing, is you have to group defend him. So in this situation, you've got to get cover in behind that pressing defender. So when Pasher looks up, there's too many obstacles to get to goal.
All right, so that's a look at the way things played out in half number 1. Let's talk about our style a little bit here. Now, you see the standard issue Indy 11 Blazers that we have going. But the new thing that we have to accent here is something that is very special to both Brad and I, and is available for longtime fans of the Indy 11 as well. Brad and I are now members of the Century Club. Tonight is my 110th broadcast with the Indy 11. For Brad, it is number 108. Now, you don't have to be a broadcaster, just be a fan of the Indy 11. And there are a lot of folks that qualify, having attended over 100 matches in now the 7-year history of the Indy 11. Simply log on to Indy11.com and search Century Club to find out if you qualify for a scarf like this. Brad, the great thing is this club is simply only going to grow over time. And we can't thank Josh Mason and the good folks with the Indy 11 enough. A, for having us around for these last 7 years, but B, having us decked out in these cool new scarves. I like it.
Well, I'll tell you, there's 2 parts of this. One is the loyalty of the fans that have been with Indy 11 from day one, and then it's the loyalty of the club back to the fans. Stuff like this is awesome.
And again, there will be an entire process about this in years to come, where fans that have been to 200, 300 matches will present fans that have been to 100 matches their entry into the Century Club with the Indy 11. Another thing that makes this franchise great. Again, as we have talked throughout the course of the broadcast, to gain entry into the building tonight, you have to have a mask. And so we built in social distancing as far as the tickets. No, this is not your normal Indy 11 crowd. Last year in the home opener, there were over 20,000. The last 2 years, the Indy 11 have averaged 10,000 fans a game here at Lucas Oil. We're not at that number tonight, Brad. But again, it's great to have fans of any kind as part of the building. I'll let you comment on that in a matter of moments. Let's now throw down to the sidelines, because the head coach of the Indy 11 in Martin Rennie is standing by. Martin, I know not a goal yet to show for it, but I like what I saw from your club. Your thoughts on your team's opening 45 minutes of play here on the restart?
Yeah, I think we played very well. We're looking good, but we just need to get the ball in the back of the net and then keep doing the same things. But I thought the quality of our play, the tempo, the energy was very good. So we need that goal and then go from there.
Not many new faces this year, but the ones that we do see are playing up top in tandem with Tyler Pasher, whether it's Andrew Carlton or Nick Moon. Your thoughts about the way that trio is working together right now?
Yeah, they've created lots of opportunities. I think just in the box they need to find each other with the pass, maybe the final pass. But other than that, it looks good.
Anything you're concerned about through the midfield, through the back line?
Well, just making sure we keep the energy and the tempo up, because we've done well in the first half, but we can't be complacent.
Martin, thanks for the time. We'll talk to you post-game.
Thank you.
Head coach of the Indy 11, Martin Running, always kind enough to join us both at the conclusion of the half as well as getting ready for the start of half number 2. Time now for a quick look at our match stats. Possession 55-45 in favor of the Indy 11. And look at that, Brad. 13 shots, 8 of them on target.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. That's an end of match. That'd be a good match at 90 minutes. That's after 45. And you look, now St. Louis, they've got 1 shot on goal, but that's because there have been a couple of saves where Evan Newton's gotten to the ball first and a ball on the backside that Cicerone missed.
We've talked about a restart to this season. Time to restart this match. Half number 2 now officially underway. No changes just yet for either side. Given you are playing indoors at Lucas Oil Stadium, certainly helps to control the weather conditions. For those of you that might be watching outside of central Indiana, we had a serious storm come through here about 5 o'clock. And because of other rain in the area, roof is closed and window is closed at Lucas Oil tonight. It was hailing outside as of 5 o'clock here in downtown. Anything different you expect to see in the Indy 11 attack, Brad, in half number 2?
Not in the attack. I think they've been dynamic. I think the comment that Martin made is you just got to find the back of the net. And once you do find that, I think you're going to find even more gaps, even more space in that St. Louis back 4.
Hackshaw, great find. Carlton, beautiful flick. Well marked by Lapere Gagnon behind the play. Yeah. Throw in coming for Indy.
Really, really clever ball by Andrew Carlton. You know, he's vacating the space in the middle of the field, pulling a defender with him. So he just gives a little flick with the head to allow that ball to come back across to the penalty spot, just in case there's somebody making that run.
And Pasher's reputation precedes him. 3 sets of eyes, all within 5 feet of him.
He's not sneaking up on anybody.
Pasher, of course, a breakthrough season a year ago. And now with 16 goals for the Indy 11. He trails only the dynamic duo of Justin Braun and Eamon Zayed in the history of the club in terms of goals scored. Zayed 27, Braun 19, Pasher now 16. And again, goals in the last 2 playoff matches last year against Nashville and Louisville, and the brace in the opener against Memphis 901. Goal scores that night for Indy, Ioze, 2 for Pasher, and the finale by Carl Howerth. Hackshaw, good looking cross. Howerth tries to send it in. That's an old training pitch battle from last year. He and Gagnon Lapere. Now a counter here. Blackwood on the chase. More Sam, the other run, and Newton had every angle covered. 47 clean sheets in his days in the USL Championship. And he put in some significant work this offseason at Evan. He missed 2 stretches of time last year due to injury, including the entirety of the playoff run. That was ably handled by Jordan Farr, who is back for his 3rd season and 2nd as Newton's backup this year. We talked about the hair growth of Tyler Gibson earlier. He's got nothing on Jordan Farr. Jordan put in some serious time working on the follicles during the quarantine period.
Oh, what a look. What a look.
Iose, just enough of a touch. To some degree too strong, but there's Howerth to settle. Carlton, couple of touches. And that'll be a foul. And we say early in half number 2, after we said it a couple of times in half number 1, he does not back away from the physical side of the game, does he?
Love it, love it. He fights for every ball, every touch.
This portion of this match is brought to us by the Denny Companies. Denny Companies, tearing down the past so you can build the future. From Coach Tritschu's standpoint, what, if anything, changes for St. Louis? Pasher had bracket coverage, and then it is deemed that he gave a push to Adewole.
I think you're going to see what you just saw right there is that there's got to be some group defending around the spaces of Tyler Pasher. You cannot let him run free. The gift that Indy has is he can finish, he can create, and he's got pace. But the gift that they have are guys like Iose, and even Drew Connor dropped a ball into a pocket for him early in this game, are the guys that can find him and lay balls into those pockets for him to go run onto.
And Pasher takes a tumble. Probably not in the distance to be super dangerous from here. Connor trying to buy a yard or two and does so. You may not hear as loud of a voice from the BYB tonight, but you hear that thump. No capos tonight. And fans in the Brickyard Battalion asked to space out a little bit more so than normal. They are here, and it is wonderful that there is no created soundtrack for this match. You are hearing the people that are here in this building. Good setup here by St. Louis, couldn't slide it through. Player down inside of the box. We play on. That's Wortman as the player that is still down, just now getting up. G plays it across, but that finds the side netting.
What a clever buildup.
Again, the opportunities have not been as plentiful for St. Louis, but they have been just as good a quality.
You can't fall asleep. You can't fall asleep. They're good in transition, and before Indy can get themselves settled and organized in the back, they've got some dangerous pieces that can hurt you.
Asher off to the races. Carlton tries to find
what
him.
A ball.
He does. Setting up that left side. Rifles it and finds the back of the net. 4 in a row for Tyler Pasher, dating back to last year. And the first home goal of the season belongs to Tyler Pasher. 1-0, Indy 11.
What a ball by Andrew Carlton to play him in. And I tell you, Sam Fink did a good job of taking away the middle, which is traditionally what you'd want from the defender in that spot, and give Morton the shot. But on Pasher's left foot, you got to change things up a little bit. Either Morton's got to come take another step, make just impossible angles, or Fink has got to close it down tighter.
From the conference final to the season opener was a 17-week gap. From the season opener to tonight was an 18-week gap. What's the same? Tyler Pasher scored a goal in every one of those games. 5 goals in his last 4 games, 17 for his Indy 11 career. And the boys in blue, who have not lost in this building in over 2 calendar years, have a 1-0 lead.
And here's an impressive thing about those stats. The stats that you have, what you just articulated, every team in the league has. And still, he gets through.
You know what the scouting report is. The question is, who has the speed to stop him?
You know, part of that, if you don't have the speed or you don't have the shape, you've got to stop the serve. And so you've got to recognize when we're in a position where we're exposed defensively, there has got to be immediate pressure on that ball in the midfield. So Carlton, Iose, Connor, Howerth can't deliver that ball.
So Pasher now 3 goals on the season. By the way, Carlton gets the assist. That's his first on Indy 11 uniform. And 1 goal against Memphis quickly became 4 for the Indy 11. Let's point out that when these two sides played last year, 1 goal was not enough in any of those matches. Does that goal really change much tactically at this point for either side, Brad?
Not right at this moment because there's still plenty of time left in this game, but at some point, with this shortened season, every game, every 3 points is so incredibly valuable. When you're St. Louis and you're looking and you're seeing Indy 11 and Lou City in your division and only 2 teams out of these 4 are going to make it, you can't afford to drop points anywhere. So you could see later in this game as St. Louis opening up a bit and trying to push to get the equalizer.
Fans, Indy 11 Premium Suites are the perfect way to entertain your guests. Learn more at Indy11.com or call 317-685-1100. Barrett with a rocket. Howerth setting up the attack. Good job by Wharton to get a leg in the way for St. Louis FC. Again, St. Louis is technically in first place in Group E, even though they, Indy, and Louisville all won that opening match some 18 weeks ago. They are currently in first place on goal differential, at least coming into tonight's match, because of having a 3-goal victory against the former and now once again rivals of the Indy 11, the Miami FC. Fans, for standings, stats, on the latest league news, be sure to visit uslsoccer.com. Good takeaway here. Hackshaw down. We play on. Tremendous sliding effort by Gibson. But Hackshaw remains down on the turf.
Those are the things in this moment you got to just be really cautious of. These soft passes back in the defensive third, taking the extra touch, trying to beat a man as a back. You've got to be cautious. You can't give them a look.
By the way, I credited Gibson. That was Connor that made that sliding effort. My apologies. They're roommates. It's easy to confuse the two for one another. Connor joined the team last year in August, formerly of the Chicago Fire, played his college soccer at the University of Wisconsin. And much like the head coach of St. Louis FC, he played professionally in the Czech Republic, did Drew Connor. By the way, for Coach Tritschu, his time in the Czech Republic was playing for Sparta Prague after the 1990 World Cup. Pasher to Carlton, flag goes up. Just a hair offside. The head coach for St. Louis FC is the answer to a wonderful trivia question. So here you go, listen up, folks. You can impress your friends and neighbors with this. Can you name the first American player to play in what is now known as the Uefa Champions League? The answer is Steve Tritschu. It was the European Cup back then, but in his brief time with Sparta Prague, he appeared in a Champions League match. Connor whistled for the foul. Blackwood, the player that tumbles to the turf.
Didn't you give the answer before you gave the trivia question?
I did, so this is something that we get to share with all of us. See, now you take this trivia question and share it amongst your soccer friends who may not be watching tonight, and then you've got one up on them.
Gotcha.
Okay, this is a give and take relationship.
I jotted all that down.
We're trying to benefit the viewing audience tonight.
It's the moments like that just, make your heart skip just a little bit. I trust Iose with the ball in any situation. But right now you're up a goal, defensive third. We don't need to be dribbling in traffic. Don't need to be dribbling under pressure. Can't be turning the ball over.
Tonight is Iose's 64th appearance for the Indy 11. His 3rd year with the club. After spending many years with the New York Cosmos. Ball sent in. Carlton didn't get everything he wanted to on it. And a goal kick coming. Carlton is a talented player who just is looking for an opportunity to kind of play away from home, a chance to play every day. But the thing is that, Brad, this Indy 11 team is so good, he's not guaranteed that opportunity just by showing up.
Right. I'll tell you what, though, I love the fight. He brings an edge to him. Every 50-50 ball, he's going in there like he's 6'5", 200 pounds.
Fans, this portion of this match presented by Community Health Sports Medicine. Exceptional care simply delivered. That is the team captain. That is Sam Fink. That is being tended to by the trainer for St. Louis FC. Fink is part of that wonderful St. Louis soccer tradition. He is a homegrown talent that grew up in the St. Louis area. Of course, there is a bond that is shared by a St. Louis native between these two franchises. Mike Ambersley was the first player signed by St. Louis FC for their inaugural campaign in 2015. Mike, of course, is the player that has the first goal in Indy 11 franchise history back on opening night of April 2014 against the then Carolina Railhawks.
Remember it. I remember it.
Well, you were there.
Yeah,
I was
that's
too.
why I remember it.
Yes.
I pay attention sometimes.
More than you let on.
And I'll tell you what, you talk about St. Louis soccer and homegrown and the talents. That is such a impressive pocket of soccer and has been for so many years. And it goes back to, Bush's support of the Bush Soccer Club way back when, and the St. Louis Steamers and the pro teams and the players that have settled in that area and continue to pay it forward by training guys. St. Louis soccer has just been outstanding for decades.
I think we had head-to-head contact between two players for St. Louis FC. That's why there was an immediate stoppage of play. And again, the possession wasn't being contested. St. Louis had possession, so no reason to hesitate in blowing that whistle. Tonight's match referee. And your captain will be the coach on the field, as Sam Fink wants everybody to get together. By the way, Callan Radosov is our match referee tonight. Rachel Smith and Michael Nickerson are our assistant referees, and Nabil Ben Salah is our fourth official this evening. We touched on this at halftime and early in the broadcast as well, but a reminder, we love the fact that you're joining us on ESPN Plus or MyNDTV tonight. But tomorrow afternoon, you can go national with USL Championship Soccer. Lynn Family Stadium opens in Louisville, and while we in Indy may not like the boys in purple all that much respect to the brand new stadium just east of downtown. They get showcased on national TV tomorrow. ESPN2, Lou City, Pittsburgh, and that is a playoff rematch from last year's Eastern Conference semifinal. You can catch it at 5 o'clock on both ESPN2 and ESPN Deportes tomorrow.
That is such a beautiful stadium.
Yep.
Do you know, because you got inside sources, you know people that nobody else knows. You have information that nobody else has available to them. Do you know during that broadcast tomorrow, will we get any kind of an inside look, any kind of a tour of the stadium?
I'm sure we will, because that stadium was almost done by the playoffs last year. So the broadcast crew had a chance to tour it back in November before they were set to open in April. So I would imagine we will get a look behind the scenes. A pair of players about to enter for St. Louis FC. Guy Abend and Kadeem Dakers will be the players that will enter. The player that is being helped to the bench is Oscar Umar, native of Ghana, who played his college soccer at Villanova. And again, he and Adewole bump heads. And that's the end of the night for Oscar Umar. And you will see a lot of this year with the ability to sub up to 5 times. You will see double and sometimes even triple substitutions used by head coaches, because also you're still not allowed to have more than 3 substitute windows in the second half. to say to use subs in a tactical scenario that way.
I'll tell you, the tactics that will change from having 5 subs is teams that want to press will have the ability to press longer because you've got extra legs you can use.
So Abend is the first sub. He comes in to replace the injured player in Umar. Dakers will enter at the next stoppage in play for St. Louis FC. Abend, a native of Israel, has spent time at both Louisville and Reno. Other stops along the way in the USL Championship. And this portion of this match presented by Community Health Sports Medicine. Exceptional care simply delivered. Barrett does a wonderful job of shielding that away from Blackwood. Blackwood has been a magic man for St. Louis FC. He's played 14 matches. Tonight is his 15th for St. Louis. He has 7 goals in those previous 14 games, dating back to last August. Or Sam, one of those 3 players that made the move from the Ottawa Fury during the offseason. Splits 2 defenders here. Good work, though, by the third to slow the play down. Possession is starting to tilt a little bit in favor of St. Louis, or at least balance out a little bit more here in half number 2. These 2 teams that each put up 4 goals in their openers some 4 months ago. Matt Watson, the super sub, the team captain, fittingly will be the first substitution off the bench for Indy in tonight's game. Moon. Whistle to have been a little
inadvertent, but still a foul.
Created an advantage with the contact against Adewole. And it looks like both teams will send in a substitution. Dakers will replace Blackwood for St. Louis FC. Watson, haven't seen a signal yet as to who he is going in for Indy 11. And he will wait until the next stoppage in play. Flanked by assistant coach, former teammate Juan Guerra. They're on the right-hand side of your screen.
Love the pressure, love the back pressure.
A fortuitous carom for the Indy 11. Carlton would have been a magical pass if that had been able to slide its way through. And Cicerone goes to the turf. We play on. And it has been consistently physical going both ways tonight.
You just kind of expect that with these teams playing 1 game over the last 6 months. They're just chomping at the bit to get back at
it. And we're seeing the stretch of possession be a little bit longer for St. Louis FC. Turnover ends the latest spell of it there. And now Moon with a couple of targets inside of the 18. Tried to play it at center for Pasher. Gagnon Laparé got in the way. And Barrett did just enough with that shoulder.
Smart.
Great positional defense by Patty.
Smart. There's no foul there, but you know, if you do get called in that moment, you're 60 yards away.
This portion of this match is brought to us by the Q. Download the Indy 11 app and play the Indy 11 Q. Pre and post game. You can play in stadium and if you're at home or anywhere across the world. Sign up and play now. The flick for Pasher. Off to the races again. Pasher plays it across. Oh. And Moon couldn't tap it home for his first Indy 11 goal.
Love it.
And with The median age of the Indy 11 is about to get older. Matt Watson coming in, Andrew Carlton exiting. A look at the latest opportunity for the boys in blue.
Just enough to split the defenders and to get it into Pasher's footing.
And literally, there were 4 white kits in that shot.
Yeah, and I tell you,
and not to go along with the goalkeeper, and they're all looking at Pasher. Nobody's looking at Moon.
Yep.
Everybody's looking at Tyler Pasher.
And Morton was playing the shot. He anticipated that Pasher was going to pull the trigger, so he was near post. He was a step out. He had the angle completely cut off, and that left the open goal. Just weren't able to connect on the other end of it.
So the Indy 11 now have 4 substitutes remaining. St. Louis has 3. However, they only have 2 more field players in uniform. We'll see if that's an advantage down the stretch in this first match back for each of these 2 teams. Gagnon Lapare lays it across. Hackshaw got there for Indy. G trying to keep the attack going. Matt Watson, who entered, this is now his 67th appearance for the Indy 11. One of 5 members of this team entering his 3rd season with the Indy 11. Watson, we met, Farr, Ioze, and Pasher. Is that holiday 5-pack that have that honor for the Indy 11.
Good stamp.
Bryan will be the next substitution for St. Louis FC. Young man from England will be the 3rd substitute used by Coach Tritschut in the next couple of minutes.
You know, sometimes when you're knocking the ball around, you're waiting for the other team to bite on one pocket. You're waiting for them to bite on one ball so that they can get kind of out of shape or stretched. Indy's just not giving that. St. Louis is knocking around their back line, trying to find just a moment, just a gap, but the 11 aren't separated.
Moon made a good turn, exceedingly well defended by Adewole. Nick may think otherwise, but if the official doesn't call it, that was great defending by Adewole. This portion of this match is brought to us by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. Indiana, a state that works. And Wall Fall is about to enter as well, so the 2 remaining field players for St. Louis will both be entering this match, and sooner rather than later. Hackshaw didn't handle that as well as he would have liked to.
Yeah, and that was one set that I'd be disappointed with if I'm Coach Rennie. The ball's been split side to side for St. Louis, and the 11 were slow in shifting to get pressure to the ball.
Looking back post, Cicerone was the target. Howerth was with him step for step. A ground ball with eyes that made its way to Newton, but Newton has not been seriously threatened since really that first opportunity by Cicerone in the opening few minutes of this match. We saw that a year ago from Evan. Evan would have 60 minutes of kind of observing the match like you and I, and all of a sudden had to respond and did so.
That's so tough. That's so tough.
Partner knows of what he speaks, having spent over a decade as a professional goalkeeper in both the indoor and outdoor game on this continent and in Europe as well.
They never got those mental breaks indoor. It was just shot after shot after shot. But outdoor, you have those moments where, you know, you got to just stay locked in. You got to stay clicked in because you will get tested at some point.
Fans will miss a minute of action in 2020. Sign up today and get alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for Indy 11 and click the follow button. Keep up with the latest news and scores, plus get reminders on your home team's next match. Go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club. Opportunity here. Good job by Wimet to step to it. Pasher.
Oh, what a
great
touch.
looking ball here. Moon has Watson and Iose to his left. Cuts middle. Just couldn't get the last touch he was looking for, but wins it away from Gangnam La Pereira. Now Pasher outside the 18. Left foot doesn't get through. Finds Iose, but there was a handball involved in the ricochet to get it back to him. And a goal kick coming. Season ago, Iose 3 goals and 5 assists. Iose seemingly defying the laws of aging in his time with the Indy 11.
Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, his touch, his vision, his creativity, his tactical IQ.
There is no doubt that he is amongst the best players to play in the history, now 7 years of the Indy 11. And there's a lot of folks that will make the argument he is the best player to play in the 7-year history of the Indy 11.
And I'll tell you what a guy to have behind Pasher that can feed him any ball in any moment, in any space. And, you know, for Pasher, what a guy to have behind you. A guy who can find any lane, any channel, and deliver the ball.
And that will be our hydration break here in minute number 75. This portion of the match is brought to us by Ivy Tech. With in-demand programs like information technology, healthcare, supply chain, and advanced manufacturing, Ivy Tech Community College is the place to get started or continue working toward your education goals. Iose played in his home country of Spain before, calling North America home for the better part of the last 7 or 8 years. And he was a feared opponent in his days with the New York Cosmos. But he is so much more appreciated as a member of the Indy 11.
I tell you, I don't think you know his brilliance until you get to see him play every game. You know, seeing him play when the Cosmos would come to town, or watching when the 11 were playing out in New York, and you're like, that's a dangerous, dynamic player. But it's every game. He brings it every single game.
So teams are being waved back onto the field. And again, the 2 remaining field position players available for St. Louis FC have made their way to the 4th official. Wall Fall, who we saw play for Ottawa last year and was outstanding for Ottawa, had 10 goals and 5 assists. Native of Germany. And Richard Bryant, 24-year-old from England. Both are set to enter this match as a sub. Moore Sam will exit, so the former and once again teammates exchange spots on the field. And Paris G will exit for St. Louis FC. So if something were to happen to a player, say from an injury standpoint for St. Louis, they do have a player they can put in the match, John Berner, who is their backup goalkeeper. So that would be the only reason why he would be entered into this contest, would be if there was an injury in the final 15-plus minutes for St. Louis.
Yeah, or they may just sign Coach Tritchu to a 12-minute contract. Say, hey, go finish this for us.
He did spend the first 6 years of Major League Soccer as an active player. And that's going to be a handball, yep. In fact, if I have my timing correct, he would have played for former Indy 11 head coach Tim Hankinson during his days in Major League Soccer.
I believe you are correct.
Hank these days doing the broadcast for San Antonio FC.
How about that?
Trust me, he wants to get back into coaching, but right now he'll handle some broadcasting duties. Had a chance to catch him about a month or so ago. He is doing very well, this Hank. Left foot, a
Good
beauty.
serve.
Hackshaw!
What a serve.
For a second season in a row, Nabil Hackshaw has a goal against St. Louis FC. And the boys in blue have a 2-goal advantage. And yes, what service to set him up.
Goodness. Oh my goodness. The only place the back line and the goalkeeper could not come and clear that ball. And it was at that point, you know, here you are, 12, 13 minutes away from the end of this game. For St. Louis to have a chance to pull a point out of this, they could not give up a second goal.
For any other player, that is a jaw-droppingly good assist. For Iose, it's a day that ends in Y. We've seen him put a dime from 60 yards out of this building before.
It's all right.
Ilya Illich about to enter this match. Former Lou City player, now his second year with the Indy 11. He'll replace Nick Moon. Job well done by Nick Moon in his home debut.
I'm a Nick Moon fan. Loved what I saw tonight. Loved what I saw. The way he and Carlton and Pasher were connected today was amazing.
So Illich enters, missed the first half of last year due to injury. He's kind of in and out of the starting lineup from August on for the Indy 11. Paddy Barrett was slow to get up and is still being, he's still kind of trotting towards the sideline. So currently, the Indy 11 are playing a man down as he's trying to stretch out. A bit of a cramp on the sidelines. Again, Indy does have a couple of more subs they can use if they feel that Paddy cannot continue on.
Boy, he's had a great game, though. That ball's come into him, and he's sprayed it out to Howerth. He sprayed it out to Iose. Done a great job of reading the through balls into the target.
It was 2-1 when these two teams played in August a season ago. It was a very late one that was tallied by St. Louis FC.
I think they scored 2 in their opener this year in the last 12 minutes.
Fans, the USL's elite pre-professional platform, USL Academy, allows clubs across the USL to build a pathway to pro soccer by bringing together top local youth talent. Following the success of the first Academy Cup events, clubs can now apply to participate in the USL Academy League, kicking off next spring. For more information, visit usl-academy.com or search hashtag USL Academy on social media. So Barrett is back on the pitch. However, Mitch Osman is getting ready to enter. Mitch was that kind of fourth defender a year ago. Native of Australia. And Iose banged into behind the play. He'll quickly hop back up. Mitch did not feature in the season opener in Memphis. Good to see him get some run. When Nabil Hackshaw was out with international duties in June, Osman was fantastic.
Smart play by Indy. Does St. Louis have the legs left to press and try and pull one back?
Good ball here by Fall, but Howerth knocks it away from his former teammate in Gagnon Laparade. So with that, Mitch Osman will come in and they will not take any chances with Barrett. Barrett now will exit. Barrett will put the captain's armband. Something of a familiar refrain. Matt Watson enters late. He gets the captain's armband. Barrett will exit. Here comes Mitch Osman.
Yeah, smart sub. You know, Patty wanted to, could have finished the match, but you got a quality player in Mitch Osman. You got a 2-0 lead. You got a shortened season. It's a sprint to the USL Championship playoffs. You got to make decisions like this.
Osman on. Third sub used by Indy. Ryan lines it up, and Newton had it covered the entire way. And the Indy 11 will be back here next Saturday night. This is the first of 10 home matches this season. Sporting Kansas City will be here next week, and we will get to know Sporting Kansas City very well. They will play 4 times against the Indy 11, all in this building. Indy swept the then Swope Park Rangers twice when they played a season ago. That is also at 7 o'clock. Right idea. Well-timed tackle. Watson flying down the park. Tries to find Pasher, couldn't get it to him. Matty's on the Brad Ring plan. He gets a goal a year. At least he has so far with the Indy 11. Last one coming against one of his old teams, North Carolina FC, last August.
But he's so valuable here in this corner in holding play and driving a ball across the box. But his other value is just in game management, understanding all the experience, all the leadership that he has. Charismatic leader, guys love him. He understands the game, they follow him.
Illich whistled for the contact and foul against Espn, who is a former teammate of Ilya's in their days with Lou City. This is the 7th year for the Indy 11, the 6th season for St. Louis FC. St. Louis has been a playoff team one time. That happened 2 years ago. Steve Tritschu, their first-year head coach.
Not a bad thought by Tyler Pasher, not bad.
Last 2 head coaches, rather well-known, at least the last name of one was well-known. Anthony Pulis, the head coach the last couple of years of St. Louis FC. Before that, Preki, their head coach. So now multiple former American World Cup participants. Preki, one of the stars of the early days of Major League Soccer.
He's like ageless. I mean, he had an indoor career.
Yep.
That was, I think it was like 3 decades before he started playing in the MLS.
He's been playing since the 60s, huh?
Yeah.
They were playing indoor soccer back then.
He's what, the Gordie Howe, the George Blanda? Those are guys in other sports, Rickshaw, that actually had long careers.
That's fantastic.
Thank you, my brother.
Mid-season form.
This is good. This is good. Manage the game out.
While Indy gets to be at home next Saturday night from the frying pan of the fire for St. Louis FC. They head to Louisville's Lynn Family Stadium next Saturday night. And that one simply steered to the right and played to safety by Carl Howerth. Final 5 minutes plus stoppage time, brought to you by your Central Indiana Honda dealers, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11.
And unless the wheels come off, you're coming out of this with 3 points. But there is another psychological element you want to walk out with, and that's the clean sheet.
It'll be the 48th of Newton's career. Here at this level. Something that Indy could not accomplish in either matchup with St. Louis FC last season. And Newton was in goal for both of those games. And that'll be a foul against Carl Ouimet. And trying for the quick restart. Referee says nope. And if St. Louis has any chance of at least pulling a point in this match, this has to be a goal off of this set piece.
Yeah, and clever thought to try and play a quick one. You know, you'd love to see an Indy 11 player also be on that same kind of mindset and step in front of that ball and make sure that they can't play it. Allow yourself to get set.
Ball sends it in, and that'll be a corner. Again, because of the hydration break, because of the subs, couple of goals. Looking, I'd say, at minimum 4 minutes of stoppage time, maybe a bit more. As we enter minute number 90 of this restart game. Newton didn't get to it, at least fully, but neither did a St. Louis FC player. And we'll try it again. The edge of the 6, and Pasher can track it down, and that'll be a foul on Gagnon Lapare, and that was a smart foul, because if you don't make that foul, Pasher has nothing but air and opportunity down the sidelines. We will catch up with Tyler Pasher during the course of our post-game show. We'll also hear from the head coach of the Indy 11 in Martin Running. And fans, this reminder, you can take the boys in blue with you wherever you go. Download the all-new Indy 11 app in the Apple Store or get it on Google Play. By the way, 7 minutes of added time. We have occasionally described things as 97th or 98th minute goals. We'll have that opportunity perhaps to do that in this match as well. That will be somewhat commonplace this year. 5 subs will be used in all matches. Something that you did not see on camera, but again, it's part of the health and safety protocols for this season. There's really no ball kids, so they've got balls kind of tactically placed at different spots in the field. And so credit the goalkeeper that we've talked about in such glowing terms, in Kyle Morton for St. Louis FC. He's 90 minutes in. He went on a dead sprint for 40 yards to get the closest ball to restart as quickly as possible, knowing that St. Louis is trying to score twice in these 7 minutes.
And you see that also in the players understanding the value of being safe in here, is that the balls, once they do leave the field, they're to be sanitized before they go back into the field of play. And so you actually saw a throw in at midfield a while ago where, you know, the St. Louis player walked away from it, got a brand new ball so that they could get that one cleaned up and back into the field of play.
We had Greg Stremla, the president and CEO of the Indy 11, on in the first half, talked about the various hurdles and everything that has gone in just to get to this point, to resume soccer in the home markets for the USL Championship teams. The NWSL resumed 2 weeks ago, Major League Soccer 3 or 4 days ago, but the first American Soccer League to resume play in home stadiums with limited fans in attendance, the USL Championship.
Love it, love it. So hungry for live sports.
Two-plus minutes of stoppage time, and Cicerone looking back post. Takers there, but you have a great angle to shoot. Corner kick is given on the defensive effort by Carl Howerth.
The importance now still is goal differential. You see St. Louis being on top right now, even though 3 teams are tied in record, and they're on goal differential, and so you never know how that's going to play out through the course of a season, so even pulling one back now.
Newton with a punch. Left foot by Wharton, got through, but not on frame. It did deflect off an Indy 11 player. And St. Louis was +3 coming in. Indy Indy 11 at +2. Another look here. Quick restart. Newton got a hand to it. And that is the save of the night for the all-time leader in wins, clean sheets, as well as saves in USL Championship play.
He's at least won every match.
Good flick on by a bend. Rivas. Now Dakers. Dakers being checked by Matt Watson. That's fitting. They both played college soccer at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And Howerth able to shepherd that one across the end line for a goal kick. Anything, if you're Martin Rennie, you want to see differently from how things played out tonight?
You know, I'll tell you that the performance has been pretty fun to watch, been pretty dynamic, defensively been pretty solid. There have been a few careless moments in the back, extra touches, soft passes, couple turnovers that didn't need to happen. So, you know, I might like to go to the tape at that point, use a teachable moment and say, hey, come on, you know, you just can't have you can't have a commanding performance like this and allow a team opportunities because you get a little bit relaxed.
Again, the Indy 11 last lost in this building, July 4th of 2018. 1-0 to Ottawa Fury. And they lost in the Eastern Conference Final in November. That was at Michael A. Carroll Stadium, the original home of the Indy 11. They have not played in this building for some 9 months, but still is a streak that will continue on. It certainly appears at the conclusion of business tonight. It's been over 2 calendar years since the Indy 11 lost here.
Incredible.
26 consecutive matches without a defeat. And they've got 9 more to play in this building between now and the end of September. After tonight, 9 home matches, 5 road matches. Illich, the back heel for Ioze. Is there one more in the offing? Ball played across, doesn't get through. All right, with a minute left to go, do you hold back the good play here on a restart to save when you might need it?
Yeah, because I tell you what, you're playing the same. That's a really excellent point, Rake. You're playing these same teams over and over and over again. If you've got something clever, you don't use it now.
So you're saying this ball's going to go about a foot forward to call Howarth is what you're telling me?
I think you just touch it. You touch it, let the clock run out.
Or you find an open man in the 18 and Connor who is making a run. Indy will run its record to 2 wins in 2 matches played. 6 goals in their first 2 games. Seconds away from the final whistle. Perhaps one final look at goal. Ioze. Give it a rip, neither does Pasher.
Oh my goodness.
Ioze just weaving through traffic, couldn't get it through.
That shouldn't happen.
Didn't get the final goal, but the Indy 11 had done far enough already. And in splendid fashion. The new boss, same as the old boss for the Indy 11. 126 days removed from the last time they took to the field. Another 2-goal victory for the boys in blue. This time 2-0 at home against St. Louis FC.
Awesome, just an awesome performance.
Handshakes shared by the players on the field. Unfortunately, the tradition of the handshakes in the Brickyard Battalion, that will not happen for the rest of this year. But the affection is there nonetheless, not just for the Indy 11, but especially that man, goal scorer Tyler Pasher. Back to wrap up our broadcast in just a matter of moments You're watching Indy 11 Soccer on My Indy TV and Indy 11 Soccer is brought to you by Community Health, exceptional care simply delivered. Community. Indy, third of the season, and that is our West Fork Whiskey shot of the game. West Fork Whiskey, Indiana's premier whiskey distillery. Carlton, the distribution, and Pasher finds his way to the back of the net for the 17th time as a member of the Indy 11.
And when you're Sam Fink and you're looking at this again, you're going to say, why did I bite on that move to the middle and give him the extra space?
I love seeing the reaction of the BYB members right there behind the shot, knowing he's got space left. That's going to be a goal. We've seen that now for the last 3 years, and it's not getting old anytime soon for the Indy 11. We will speak to Tyler coming up in the Central Indiana Honda Dealers post-game show. We'll also catch up with the head coach of the Indy 11 in Martin Rennie. For the Indy 11, make it 26 consecutive games without a loss in this building at Lucas Oil Stadium. That'll do it for our game telecast tonight. It is so good to be back for season number 7 of Indy 11 Soccer. We had to wait like 9 months from the last telecast. We'll have to wait 7 days this time. We're back next Saturday night when Indy plays host to Sporting Kansas City 2. But don't go anywhere. The Central Indiana Honda Dealers postgame show comes your way next here on My Indy TV.